Welcome to the 2014 Winter Paralympics from beautiful Sochi, Russia. The fifth day of round-robin play. USA, with a record of 2-4, goes against China. 3 wins and 3 losses in their first 6 starts. 10 countries, each team gets 9 games in the round-robin. The Pipers of Scotland and the Drummers usher in the event for today. They heighten the prestige of this event as they prepare the players and the fans for this round-robin session today. 4 sheets of curling ice in the beautiful Ice Cube Curling Center, one of a cluster of new venues inside Olympic Park, just a few hundred yards away from the Black Sea. You see the ice temperature for today, and this venue was the recent site for the excitement of Olympic curling, and now this venue hosts the medal sport Paralympic wheelchair curling, where 2 teams of 4 aside compete. See the 4 sheets of curling ice and the Pipers heading out. And we look at the standings. Canada and Russia lead it at 5-1. Great Britain alone at third at 4-2. Those teams with 3 losses, China, Norway, and Slovakia. We look at the loss column. Korea, Sweden, and the United States with 4 losses. And Finland, not much hope with 1-5. Doubt that they can make it into the final 4 into the playoffs. And that's what it's all about right now during the round robin. Each team gets 9 games, and they would like a good enough record to be able to get into the final 4 and play for the medals in the medal round. There you see the beautiful crystalline ice with the pebble on top of the ice, nicely frozen on, and the colorful jackets we've seen with these wonderful Sochi Olympics. Beautiful attire. And let's meet the USA team playing lead today. Dave Palmer, the vice skip on this team. At second, Penny Greeley, had a birthday, 43 years old, from Green Bay, Wisconsin. The third player, Jimmy Joseph, 51-year-old, and the skip, Patrick McDonald from Madison, Wisconsin. Gives us the heart sign. Look at the alternate, and Megan Lino is the alternate for this team, and coached by Steve Brown. Their record, 2 wins and 4 losses, so this is a big match for them to be able to stay alive. And the opposition for USA today lead is Zhu Zhuangying, 23-year-old from Harbin, China. At second, Lu Wei. This entire team out of Harbin. Zhang Jing, the third player. And at skip, 24-year-old Wang Haitao. Definitely the youngest team in wheelchair curling. Playing in their debut, their first Paralympics. Their alternate is Hai Jun. And their skip, Li Zhangru. There we see the colorful jackets of Russia. And this ice cube, which holds 3,000 spectators, has been packed for all of the sessions thus far of the round robin, as it was for the Olympics just a few weeks ago. Players do the traditional handshakes with the opposition, wishing them well before the game. And the players now head onto the ice, warm up their chairs, have their last-minute pep talk with their team before heading into this first end of play. In wheelchair curling, we see 8 ends. Play in perhaps an extra end if it's tied after regulation. 10 countries qualified for the Paralympics in curling, depending upon how they had done at the last 3 World Championships. And in the draw to the button just before the game, it was the USA drawing closer, so they will have the advantage of last stone in this opening end. Look at the bottom of that stone being cleaned off, the circular rim right on the bottom of the stone, which is the part that touches the ice. And China losing that draw to the button. Play the initial stone, the opening stone of this end. 4 players for each team alternate 2 stones each with their opposition after all 16 stones are played in the end. Then the score is tabulated for that end, depending on who's got the most counters closest to the button at the far end. Let's meet the lead player, Zhu Zhuangying, 23-year-old. She's the youngest on the team and youngest in this entire competition from Harbin, China. Born in Heilongjiang. This team from China with a 3-3 record. That stone must make it right over the red line. They're known as the hog line to be in play, and it is. It's a good long center guard to open up play here in the first end of play. 4 players per side per team. Each player throws 2 stones, alternating with the opposition. So the leads play 2 stones, and the seconds play 2, the thirds, and then the skips. And the 2 skips, Patrick McDonald for the USA, he will direct play for his team. And when he throws, vice skip Dave Palmer will hold the brush for him. When curling, the idea is to throw the stone at the brush and with the expected amount of curl for that stone, play the desired shot. And this stone, the brush was way out on the edge of the 8 foot, so about 4 feet of curl. The blue is a 4-foot diameter circle, the white 8 foot, and the red 12 foot in diameter right across the tee line. Dave Palmer, that 53-year-old from Mashpee, Massachusetts, put that one into the back 8 foot, slightly behind cover. A good start for both teams, and good center guard in place by China. That gives them their best opportunity to steal, and just a little bit of slippage with the stick there. Some of the difference between regular curling and wheelchair curling, of course, there's no hacks in this sport. The players throw from an area between the rings and the nearest hog line on their part. They throw towards the other end. They can throw with the hand or with the stick. All the players in this Paralympic competition, they all use the stick. They can get more accuracy and force with it, better control. Skip holds a brush, a regulation type of brush, which is used in regular able-bodied curling. Palmer, with his last stone of this opening end, the 53-year-old from Mashpee, Massachusetts. He works in the Mashpee public school system. Nicely by the guard, like the inside roll, but a little bit of the outside roll, so it would be definitely visible, but still a good removal by Dave in this first end. China playing another takeout with about a foot of ice. That's the amount they expected to curl. Definitely curls less with takeout than with drawaway. Liu Wei, 29-year-old. All of these players on the Chinese team are from Harbin, China. They play for the People's Republic of China. It's in their first Paralympics. They played in 4 previous World Championships. Done well, though. In 2013 in Korea, they won bronze, and also here at Sochi, last year at the World Championships, they won bronze again. Sochi hosted the World Championships here last year as a test event prior to the Olympics being held this year. And that test event is always for the ice makers to get a good idea of the venue, and also for all of the volunteers to be able to see what it's like to work, what it would be like to work through the Olympics. The second for the USA, Penny Greeley. Had a birthday just 2 days ago, the 43-year-old from Green Bay, Wisconsin. A little bit speedy on the throw, but it will hang on at the back 12-foot ring. And Penny is a social worker in Brown County in Green Bay. And we've seen all interns. It's been all interns so far. Nobody has tested out the other side of the sheet as yet. Liu Wei, his second stone of the first in, picked up the weight, threw it hard. Hits it right on the beak. Stays right there. He began curling in 2007, has played at 4 World Championships. I mentioned their 2 bronze medals from 2012 and 2013, so they've caught on in a hurry. And Penny, really with her last stone of this first end. It's her first Paralympics. She's played in 3 previous Worlds. And she did win a bronze in 2004 in Paralympic sitting volleyball in Athens. Well, Patrick McDonald with the advantage of the last stone on this end, known as the hammer, playing a fairly clean end. Although both teams have tried to try and draw around that center guard and get buried in behind. No one's really had success yet. Just watch this one and see if the ice is perhaps running just a little bit straighter than it has in other games. The third player for People's Republic of China, Zhang Qing, 34-year-old. He also out of Harbin, China. And this entire team plays out of the Heilongjiang Curling Club in China. For all of them, it's their first Paralympics, but they have been a team in the World Championships for the last 4 years, so they have played together, know each other well. Most of them began in their curling careers in 2007. Just have a look, and that one was out past the back line, so it'll be removed from play. Now let's meet the ever effervescent Jimmy Joseph. Third man throwing third stones, was playing second earlier in these Paralympics and now moved up to the third position. Jimmy Joseph, his nickname Jimmy Jam, lives in New Hartford, New York. There we see the C on the stone. This matches on sheet C. The sheet's named ABCD. A little bit too much pace there as well. Slides through the rings, and the ice has been rather sticky the last couple days and quite slow in weight. It looks like it's a bit faster today.
Are you guys talking about the time?
Stones sliding easier, not quite as much weight required, and by weight I don't mean the 42 pounds which a curling stone weighs. I mean the force or speed which is imparted to the stone upon the point of release. And Zhang with his final stone of this first end. One of his hobbies is playing guitar. And this ice a bit keener today. The rock's sliding fast down the ice. -1-2 will not be able to stop in time as it slides out the back door. Is zip, zip, zip away. Also out of play. There's one stone just back of the rings there, but not over the back line yet. It's not much of a factor. And there is that center guard.
13 seconds, okay?
And just a bit speedier than it was the last time the U.S. played.
That feel better?
And you see the players use stopwatches, and often they will test the time in seconds for the speed of the ice to get an idea of its speed. And that one 12 seconds from one hog to the other hog. And that also too fast today. We heard the skip. Patrick mentioned 13 seconds. And if it would have been a little bit slower through that zone, it would have eaten up more time on the stopwatch, and hence would have stopped quicker. So when a stone is thrown with less force, it takes more time to go through the zone of hog to hog, hence a larger number on the stopwatch. Well, all the teams continuing to play this in turn. No one has stepped out to the other side of the sheet and tried the out turn. It's virgin territory as of right now. Wang Haito, the youngest skip in the competition, 57% so far in his previous 6 games. Left-hander, and the only left-hander skip. And his team won bronze in 2012 and 2013 in the World Championships, and there's better weight. Nice speed just to the back forefoot. And that was 13.5 seconds between hog lines, whereas Jimmy Jam for the USA was 12 seconds, went through that zone in less time, so more speed. Jimmy just clearing off the stone, making sure it's clean for his skipper. There we see the striking band on the side of the stone, so when stones hit another, there's a nice band there.
Right on the edge of the 8, Dave. What? Right on the edge of the 8.
Dave is throwing lead stones for USA, but is the vice skip holding the brush for skipper Patrick McDonald.
guard weight.
As I mentioned in the opening, with their record of 2-4, USA coming off a win in their last match, but they have to keep winning now in their last 3 matches of the round robin to have any chance of making the playoffs. So this is a super big match for them. They had a slow start. They lost their first 2 games.
Come on, keep going.
Now they've been playing better. This one have enough to get there. Ooh, it does appear to be just shot stone. A beautiful shot. Nice shot by Patrick McDonald.
Good right weight.
Yeah, the U.S. lost their first match, 6-4 to Slovakia, and then 9-5 to Korea. The next one, they beat Norway 8-5, but followed up with losses 7-2 to Canada and 6-5 to Russia. And had a win in their last match.
把那点行吗？
对，跟挂包这儿给它抓着
把这个
行了
也整也可以。
打这边儿，然后往过甩。
那边也能打着，全漏。
我只想知道他
什么
力量就行。
China's not shot stone here, so presently the U.S. lying 1. And for China, they have to come very close to that guard. They hit the red stone on the outside, could drive it on their own.
正常。
对啊。
靠近就行。
再收一点。
Well, China, with their record of 3-3, this is a big match for them.
上线了，
Also in a playoff hunt.
稍大一点儿，
They'd
可以
like to stay on the positive side. A win here would really help them out. Good throw. Now there's no sweeping in wheelchair curling, but the sweepers can definitely talk to the stone. That one driven on their own, and it will spill out. They roll out with their shooter as well. So nothing in play. So nothing to count so far, and the end is almost over with only 1 stone to come. Well, for the USA, they could draw in and take a point here.
No.
Let's just take our 1.
Yep, take our 1.
Or they could throw it through and blank the end. There would be no score, and then they would retain last stone for the next end. They mentioned there they would like to draw for 1. And this U.S. team played well in their last game. They beat Finland by a score of 7-6 in a very tight match. The U.S. deciding to take the 1. A little bit different than regular curling. An able-bodied, I would definitely think that the players would throw the stone through and maintain advantage of last stone for the next end. But a count here is not bad. First under the scoreboard is a good idea. And while Patrick McDonald has struggled with his draw weight, he has 2 beautiful draws in this game, right to the top forefoot. Obviously, the ice is more to his liking today. Nice weight by McDonald.
我这力量大，掉的小，得回那个。
The teams have an opportunity for a short meeting in between ends. USA with that 1 point.
这球点还大一点儿。
Leads at 1-0 after a single end of play.
反正控制好力量。
啊，控制好力量。
后手回来。来，
还行。
加油！
This team from China, the youngest team by far in the competition.
And let's see.
Let's go tight.
Let's go tight 3. I'll play it tight so that way it goes over to the side. Okay.
Out turn, right? Hey, keep away from her in turn.
In turn.
A little bit of strategy there, and
We want to be on the left side.
Jimmy Joseph
Left of the
suggesting to go with the out turn to skip Patrick.
Yeah, I just thought he cage it crossed over.
Yeah, keep this turn away from her.
Well, this U.S. team does a lot of their skipping by committee. However, skip Patrick McDonald does make the final decisions, but he accepts input all along the way. So take the stopwatch out and just time the speed of this stone. As it travels down the ice, probably do a time from hog to hog, although some players time from first hog to the tee line in the rings. Stone fighting 13.5 the time on it, and it was fighting to keep its handle, but the turns came back at the end. 13.6 from
That
hog
is
to hog.
perfect.
That's like
So into the
wow,
rings
yeah,
is
dude.
around 13,
Perfect weight.
which would be just a little speedier time through the zone, hog to hog. Now with the free guard zone and the 4 rock rule, the People's Republic of China cannot make a direct hit on that stone or move from play because of the rule, 4 rock rule. That came into being in curling because in able-bodied, the hitting became so good in the 1980s that quite often teams would just remove the entire field of play with nothing but hits and rollouts. Seldom was there more than 1 stone in play. Hence, the rule came along to encourage more stones in play out in front of the rings to get the end well started. China could tap that stone around, but if they totally remove it from play, the penalty is that it goes back and their shooter would come off. Once we get into the second players, in the end, that rule will no longer be in effect. The stones can be hit and removed. Nice draw weight by China, right in behind,
Same
beautifully
weight, Dave.
covered in behind.
I want it.
And this is a good start to this end for the U.S. They have a
This is where
center
they
guard.
want it.
They have a nice center guard. If they can bury in behind, this is a best opportunity to steal is when it's close to the button area. More difficult if they get it guarded up in that area and they have a counter, more difficult for China to do much about it. Dave Palmer said he tried this sport at a charity event and loved it right away. And his motto, work hard, play hard. And the U.S. is playing hard today. Oh, beautiful weight there. Right to the back of the Paralympic logo, fully buried in behind the front stone. And that front stone is protected by the 4 rock rule for the moment. So the free guards are. And good to see Jimmy Joseph there cheering on his team. And Jimmy says, I'm the cheerleader on the team. If we're down, I have to keep everyone's head above water.
90力量就可以啊。
Last stone of this second end for Zhu Yongping. Just take a second to look at the stick used by the players. All the teams has a little bit different version of the stick. And also here in this case, the player from behind can brace the wheelchair, lending a bit of support and taking away any slippage. And Zhu is the youngest on the team. Her hobby is swimming, and she was selected to this team from her swimming. She began curling in 2007. Ooh, just barely rubs the guard, just ticks it,
不小的一点来了。
and rolls away.
说小那么一点，不小那么一点来了。
Tough miss for Zhu.
来了，该我了。
Played a real nice shot there and didn't quite get the result, but that was a tough shot. There was not much room. She couldn't see any of the red one in behind. Now the U.S. will try to capitalize with a guard. Penny, the only female wheelchair player at the Green Bay Curling Club.
Nice weight.
She said it wasn't far from her home, and when she heard about curling, she went there and tried it out, and she was hooked right away.
Come on. Yep.
It's close enough that she's able to go and practice. This U.S. team, they all live in different cities across the country, so they've only been able to get together and practice 9 times this year.
It's gonna get
So
really
they practice
long,
at
we'll
their
make
own
a drive.
clubs.
周前面正常，老公。
Well, as mentioned, this whole team from the People's Republic of China is from Harbin. And Harbin is the capital and the largest city of the Heilongjiang province. It is the northeasternmost area of China. Harbin is the 8th most populous Chinese city with 6 million people. It's definitely the most populous in the northeast region. The city is called the Ice City
I had you
because
here.
it is
You
the
came out here.
coldest winters
Okay, I'll give you a
of
little
any
bit
of the
more anyway.
major cities in China.
Weight was good.
Penny looking to replace that guard. Her hobbies: fishing, swimming, golfing, sitting volleyball, and wheelchair basketball. She's a busy gal.
Come on. Yep.
She decided to check out wheelchair curling because it was close to her club and ended up loving it. A good guard. And this is the best start we've seen from the USA shot making wise. Right now the US playing at 73%. And China at 66%, so high numbers as of the moment for both teams. And Penny playing at 81%. So both teams very proficient thus far. The ice pretty good today. There isn't a ton of curl to it, but still enough move. And definitely for wheelchair curling, about 3.5 feet or 3 feet of curl is better than 4.5. This ice was really breaking and curling hard in the first number of games, and these pairs found it difficult without the advantage of having sweep to keep the line straighter. Peels off the one guard and replaces it with a yellow color, but still the US has that stone right on the button.
Put one right in front of
Almost touching the
I wouldn't
pin.
mind putting one right here, Dave, or even right here.
Well, the question now is, do you keep guarding or do you get a little bit more offensive and come right in?
Yeah, even if it comes deep.
Here to here is fine. Even there, 2, 3.
Sorry.
Jimmy Joseph, the jam man, was
Yeah, 3, 4.
too speedy on both his draws on the first end, which slid right through. Obviously, he's had a stopwatch out and is watching closely and trying to get a better feel for the ice. It's just a little bit slicker today than it was in the last match, that's for sure.
Walk.
Jimmy, in his third Paralympics, he's played in 7 World Championships before. He began curling in 2003 at Utica, New York. And he wanted to try something new and discovered
That'll work too.
wheelchair curling. His ambition here to win gold, and the U.S. pretty much needs to win out all the rest of the way to make that dream come true. And Jimmy, always up, amazing guy. Definitely a cheerleader. And his motto, never give up in life, and he certainly doesn't. Song Quang, and we see the 2 blue lines just 18 inches away from that center line on each end, and the stone must be released within those lines, which means that the player cannot go all the way over the side of the sheet to get a much better angle. Must throw from the center area. The stone must be released before that first hog line. And we see those time clocks in the back on the next sheet, and each team started the game with 68 minutes to play their portion, their stones in the game. Hit there by China, but not much changing. The U.S. definitely with an advantage here. Look there, the U.S. with 57 minutes left.
I had you here.
China with
This is where you
55.
came out at, okay?
And you ask what happens if a team runs out of time. Well, it happened the other day.
Weight was
The
perfect.
skip from Sweden went to throw his last stone of the game, and the 8th end was out of time. And even though he made a shot, the stone didn't count. The game was forfeited right there. So running out of time, not the thing to do. Teams like to play fairly quick and bank some time for the later ends, or for ends when there are a lot of stones in play. And there are quite a few in this end. The jam man yelling at that stone, and who knows if curling stones listen. Well, this one seems to be. Ooh, that's a nice shot. There's more glide in the ice today. Definitely more than there was in the last couple of games. We're seeing more glide from that last hog line to stop. Stones are not throwing out the anchor quite as fast. It's good to see that glide. 2 stones buried for the red, the U.S. China has one at the back. It does appear that China's second shot stone. Now, the way you count in curling, it's the number of stones at the conclusion of the end, which are closer than the other team's best one that count, and only one team can count per end. So if play ended right now, before this throw, it appears the U.S. would have one counter. China would have the second best, but wouldn't count. Chip on the guard only gets rid of the yellow, and boy, the U.S. really owns the top of the house and area in front of the rings. It's known as the house. Goes back to the terminology of the old days of Scotland. This sport started in the 1600s in Scotland. Hence the terms the house, and also the two lines known as the hog lines. I guess in the olden days of Scotland, if you did not get it over the line, it was removed from play.
Remember I drew mine, the last draw challenge?
Hence known as a hog.
Put it there and just draw another one in?
I like the guard. Let's just,
what do you do?
we already got two.
Why not? No, we're sitting one.
I like the
We're only
guard.
sitting one.
You got a guard.
I like the guard.
Okay.
Well, the input from the front end.
Nice. You're good to go.
Just feather touch it.
Convincing Patrick McDonald to just play a guard. Well, he can go quite wide on this in-turn side. Then he really wants to block the draw that China might play.
2 minus 2.
Looking for about 13 seconds travel time between the hog lines.
We're okay.
Settle.
We're okay.
Patrick looks on. Just gets over the hog line. If it hadn't made it over that line, it would have been removed from play, and that was a 15.79 on the stopwatch. And that's definitely a long guard. And the stone is traveling that slow and taking that much time to go between the two hog lines. Well, it did its purpose, though. It looks like it'd be very, very difficult for China to make a draw into the rings that would be shot stone. Let's see if there's a port there. Is there enough room for them to draw through? We aren't able to, for the moment, see that long guard, the exact position of it. Well, there it is. There might be room. When the stone is curling through that port, the port is smaller than it looks because it is curling through the wrong way. It'd be easier to draw through the opposite way, but of course that would not get you to the button. And Zhang holds the broom at vice skip. Left-hander, high towel. Playing the stone right through the port. The young skip, 24-year-old from Harbin, China. Runs into the long guard that was just played by Patrick in the U.S. That guard certainly worked out good for the U.S. Now let's see how aggressive the U.S. will get here. Oh, lots of noise in the arena today. It has been for the entire Olympics and Paralympics. It's 3,000 fans in this arena love their curling. And the Russian fans have really come to love and support curling. Of course, there are fans here from all over the world, but definitely the host country, Russia, is the favorites amongst the home crowd. And Patrick went with another guard. And this was certainly a situation where he could have been more aggressive and played right into the top four port area and perhaps stole more than the 1 point, which he can. Well, 4 guards on 1 stone, that's lots. And even that stone at the top 8 foot provides a guard for the shot stone. Well, you can't get it much better guarded up than that. Yet China with an in-turn might be able to get to the edge of the button and perhaps take ownership of the center pin right on the button. With a shot like that, they could get 1. I doubt they can get 2 here. That stone is just too deep to be removed. It's too well hidden. But they could outdraw it right to the button. Well, this is a difficult shot, even with sweeping. Much more difficult when you do not have sweepers to take the stone another 5 or 10 feet. With good, strong sweeping. The last stone of N2. Hand of the skip of China. And his outturn, clockwise rotation. They're yelling at the stone to get by, and it'll just rub up top. Definitely the one on the center counts for the USA. It was the second best one. It does appear to be the yellow one of China. So no measure required. It's definite. China had the second shot stolen. It will be a count of 1 for the U.S.
有人来了，
So they had the 1 best counter, better than the other teams closest to
反
the
正两
pin.
分，反正还后手。
USA after 2 ends leads it by a score of 2-0, and this is U.S.'s strongest game by far. Their team percentage is 80%.
Love that line.
Boy, they are on fire today, curling a big game.
Great shooting, Davey.
Now 2-4 their record.
Stand up perfect.
They need to play well today to stay alive.
嗯，后续也行。
China with a record of 3-3 in the round robin so far.
我刷子呢。
In their final 3 round robin matches, probably needs to win at least 2 out of the 3 to have a chance of making the playoffs. The U.S. smiles today. They're more relaxed. They really started this competition very tense. Obviously, they came here with the idea of winning gold, and they seemed uptight the first couple of games. Could not solve the ice. The ice wasn't their friend. They really struggled. But today it looks like they've made that ice their friend. It's more to their liking. They're playing well.
I like here.
Just a little bit more?
I like it on that side of the center line.
Okay.
Palmer by Skip throwing lead stones. Always says juggling family. Curling is a tough thing. He has 3 children. Puts in a ton of time with his family and also with curling.
Yep. There you go. Yep. Come on.
Began wheelchair curling 2009 in Cape Cod in Falmouth, Massachusetts. He tried it at a charity event.
Might be on.
And he hopes that his curling has a positive impact on his 3 children.
I think you're on.
They shot there exactly where the U.S. wanted it, and they're definitely more precise today, and hence they're up 2-0 on the scoreboard. And China's struggling a bit so far, 45%, lower than their normal average. Now we see stone number 1 on sheet C. The yellow stones are numbered 1 to 8, as are the red. So the leads generally throws stone 1 and 2. However, if the player doesn't like a stone, perhaps you can convince a teammate to exchange with you. But this team must play the 8 stones on sheet C in this match. Now, when teams make the playoffs, get into the Final 4 competition, then they could take stones from another sheet if they like the stones better, if they had played in the round robin. So the teams always keep a good book on the stones. Mark down ones that don't slide quite the same as others, or perhaps curl differently.
Get back in if you hit it anyway.
8-9.
Palmer wanting to follow up his first stone with just a little bit more weight. This ice very sensitive to the touch. You don't have to add too much oomph to get quite a few more feet in distance.
Come on. Yep.
The out turn, and a very slow turn. We'll see if that'll keep its handle. Nope, it's losing the handle and heading in the other direction. And our viewers might ask, well, why do you have to throw an in turn or an out turn? Well, there's an example there. If you tried to throw just straight, well, the stone might then convince itself to take one turn or the other, and it would all be happen chance then. So that's why you predetermine the direction of curl. You predetermine the turn which you want to throw. Generally on this ice, you need about 3 spins, 3 full rotations down the ice to keep that handle on the stone. Otherwise, it can take the wrong turn, as that one did. That was the out turn, and then it changed to the end, 3/4 way down the sheet. There's stone number 2. So Zhu Zhongying is throwing stone number 1 and 2 for the yellow side. 23 years old. She's the kid of this whole organization, and this is a young team, the youngest team. Playing the hit, would like a bit of a roll in behind. Oh, that's nice, and doesn't take her own out either. Very good shot. Good shot by Zhu. She was born in Haijiang. The first Paralympics for all of the Team China. But it's their 4th World Championship, and they've been playing together for all of those 4 worlds. And they do have 2 bronze medals, that coming in 2012 in Korea and in 2013 right here in Sochi last January. Penny Grilly with the outturn. Will she have a nice enough weight to come all the way down the backwards? Nope. Just taps that front one into the rings. Needed about another 10 feet of distance. But she did have a stone to come to, and she could have bumped it back, so definitely missed on what you'd call the amateur side there. It could have been a little bit more on the pro side, and seeing the stone to come through could have added just a bit more weight. So, but that's history now. And China now, no points so far. They're not on the scoreboard. Have a chance here. They're lying 2. Good shot here, and this is the lowest I've seen any player in the competition really get down low and behind the stone. Might be an advantage. You get very, very low to have a look at it. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. Nicely behind the guard. And look at the finish. Look at the finish as that stone curls right in behind and buries, and the whole audience loved that shot.
How'd you hear, Penny?
China for the moment lying 3.
She needs a weight.
As Lu Wei yells that one into position, fully buried in behind the U.S.'s 2 guards. See if Penny can have better fortunes on this stone. She's played very well so far during these Paralympics. 65% in this match.
Come on over.
Settle. Come on.
Come on.
How's her weight?
There you go. Come on.
Cylinder.
Looking pretty good.
A little bit more. A little bit more.
Shot, Penny.
And she draws right down on the back forefoot. Not quite buried in behind though, so China might be able to make a play on that. But they will go with the outturn. Lu Wei with his last stone of this 3rd end. And China slowly building an end here. With an removal and inside roll here. They could be lying 4 behind cover. And wow, he really does get low. His head is right down, almost to the stick. That's an excellent view of it, of the throw. And yelling for this one to curl more. There it comes, curling fast and hard. Wow, what a super shot. Oh, the fans love that. So does he. 4 counters right now for China, and they have the advantage of last stone in this end. Well, if it isn't panic time for the U.S., it's pretty close to it. Panic time.
Right in front.
What?
China lying 4. And they also have the last stone advantage.
Say 4 foot.
Yes, come in right on top of them.
All right.
The arena very, very noisy, and very, very often the players will have signals for the weight because they can yell all they want. Sometimes the voice is not heard at the far end. And this arena explodes with a cheer. It's very loud, as it should be. Jimmy Joseph looking to bail his team out of trouble. And there's plenty of trouble here in this end. China's lying 4. Good thing for the USA. They lead it by a score of 2-0 after the first 2 ends of play.
7. It's got to be a 7.
And the number 7 means the depth in the rings. Top ring would be 3. Top 8'4". Top at the 4'5". The button area, the T-line 6, and just to the back of the 4'7". So use the number system for the depth in the rings. Jam man going with the big shot. And watching intently. Yelling for this stone to behave itself. Wow, looking good. Will it spin off? Oh, such a great shot, but he gets unlucky. Spinning out into the open. couldn't have thrown it any better. Just got unfortunate on the result. The pocket was staggered such that he chipped the top yellow one at the edge of the forefoot and spun into the open. If it hadn't spun into the open, there would have been no way for China to get at it. Just a bad break. Still a well-thrown stone. China now with a chance to lie 5. John Kwon, the third man. Has played in 3 previous World Championships. As I mentioned, he loves to play guitar. He was recommended to the team by a coach from another sport. This one is really curling hard at the end and gets the inside rolling in. Well, 5 counters. And hear that crowd. Wow. A little bit more room here. The sin can still be saved by the U.S. Real nice shot there by Zhang. 5 counters all behind the 2 reds on the same side of the sheet. And
Let me get ready.
Patrick McDonald started. He said he wanted to have play on that side of the sheet, but it's backfired so far. Jimmy Joseph can just Xerox the weight he had on his first one and the line. Because the stones are sitting just a little bit different, he would be perfect. There's no need to change the weight. The same angle and everything would work great this time because this stone is at the back of the forefoot that he's throwing at. If he can come off the edge of it, he could have a great result. The stone's gliding just a little bit easier today. Oh, this is looking good. Oh, a terrific shot. Well, that really saves the end. It might not be shot stone, but it is second. And it outcounts the other 4 stones belonging to China. So China right now only lying 1. So that's a game saver out of the hand of Jimmy the Jam Man. Beautiful shot and well hidden in behind the reds. And sitting in front of the yellow. So any shot that China would try to remove it would probably just go onto their own stones. So China not even chasing it, just thinking, well, if we can draw one top forefoot, perhaps we can still score 2 or 3. And Team China is ranked 3rd in, they were ranked 3rd in the qualifying points coming into these Paralympics. They were in behind Canada and Russia. That's points earned from the World Championships in 2011 and 12 and 13. Nice handle. That's around 4 rotations. This could be absolutely perfect. Wow, that is a nice shot. Oh, what a beautiful shot. Just freezes up with the red U.S. stone and nudges it back an inch. Oh, a great shot.
I had jam right here, and that's where it ended up. Put it right here, and I'm going to
Just
put it right
perfect
on the
weight. As that stone to number 6 yellow on sheet C wraps around the front red guard. Just nudges back the U.S. stone. China temporary line 2. Patrick McDonald will have to be good.
That's what we needed.
Would we cut him down to nothing?
We cut him down to 1 until he just threw that shot.
No, they got what?
Now they got 2.
Remember, you got backing.
Yep.
Gotta get it here.
Right on the edge of the 8. There you go.
Good advice for everyone,
Oh,
for
not that far
Patrick.
out, Dave. Not that far out.
He began kerning in 2008 in California.
And look where yours is.
Yeah, but I'd rather you curl. You know.
I'm trying to go right. There's a pocket right on the button.
Okay.
You're too far out?
No.
Big shot here
Got back.
for Patrick. If he can weld one in there and just get the welding torch out, freeze right onto the 2-shot stones. Not only could have saved this one, but he might even be able to steal a point. Line looks excellent. It's all about the weight now. And just the top forefoot. It's still not a bad shot. Might be able to tap it up with his next one. And China has to be careful. They could make a play on it. Looks like they'll just guard. Talking about a guard. skip. Long high toe.
先搁前面站一下。
This entire team plays out of Harbin, China. He's played in 4 World Championships before. And twice bronze medal winner.
除了他们感觉这点小的嘛，你自己感觉你不行，你就想办法，你只要站那条线上就行。
Haito mentioned about their 3-3 record so far. He says we just need to be more consistent. We're 1 game off and 1 game on. Looking for a good guard here to preserve the 2 points, which he has in the 4-foot area. That stone really curled hard at the end and may have picked up some debris because it just curled like crazy from that hog line area to stop. Now for the U.S., there will be a chance to make the tap. Look, that stone over curled by almost 2 feet.
But a little less room because you would have stayed out there. You would have hung out there if you had more weight.
No, that was coming right in, sweetie.
But honey, if you had too much more inches of weight, it would have ticked on the right side of that yellow and ticked out. So just cheat it in a little tiny bit.
Dave?
Last one.
No, in.
Just a little more.
In. There you go. Right there.
Well, with just a little bit more weight, and this ice is very weight sensitive.
Yep.
A little bit extra weight to make the tap, and the stone will likely run straighter. Might go right through the curl. So good advice there. This ice is running straighter today than it has in the last 4 or 5 sessions. This is almost perfect ice today for wheelchair curling. Line looks good if the weight is there. Will it make it all the way? Oh, it does. Beautiful stone by the U.S. Oh, what a shot by Patrick McDonald. He was playing the raise, but he'll take this. What a great shot. And the U.S. is shot stone. China goes in for a look. We have the advantage of the overhead. And China says, yes, the red one is shot stone. It eliminates their 2 for the moment. If the end ended, if the end concluded right now, USA would count 1, China nothing. China has a mess of yellow ones in the rings, but 2, 4, 6 yellow ones, and none of them counting. Really not too many good shots available for China here because that U.S. stone is really in an excellent spot. Great shot by Patrick McDonald. This is a tough shot in anybody's book. Playing the red double. Needs to get the double over top of his own 2 yellows and spin out the one that he is raising. Very, very tricky shot. There's even a chance for it to backfire and give the U.S. 2 if he drilled it straight onto the back yellow. Definitely a gamble shot, a risk reward. But trailing at 2-0. Haito definitely feels he has to go for it. The last stone of N3 is on its way. Really, really difficult double attempt. Nope, overcurls a little bit and does not make the double, so the U.S. on that fine shot by Patrick McDonald. U.S. will steal 1. They have the best counter in the ring.
Just through?
Yeah. That's mine?
No, that's mine. Yours is this. Yours is the other one, the number 8.
Good job, guys.
Okay, come here, guys.
Good job.
Okay.
Very nice.
That was just as good.
With that steal, U.S. leads it 3-0 after 3 ends.
That's fine. No, because that was better.
Sure.
Tight.
She's been doing great. Tight right in. Tight right in.
Yeah.
In.
Same thing. Same thing. If it bites, it bites.
That has to be a real confidence boost for the U.S. Patrick McDonald. It's been a Paralympics where they have struggled. This ice today is definitely more to their liking. Their team curling 74%. That's definitely the best they have been. At least 20 percentage points compared to other games. Perhaps 10 to 15, but anyway, it is definitely better.
Same thing, Dave. Right to the button. Right to the button.
U.S. with that count will play the opening stone of this
Nice
fourth
handle.
end. Talking about plenty of turn on the stone, and it's one of the difficulties with the stick is getting the right amount of spin on the stone. Definitely takes a lot of practice. Hundreds and thousands of
Come on. Yep.
curling stones down the ice in exact rotation. More rotation, the stone will curl a little less. And more rotation, there's less chance to lose the handle. But on straighter ice, and sometimes these teams play on straighter ice, less handle is more efficient. But here on this little bit softer ice surface in Sochi, the teams are finding that they must keep at least 3 rotations on the stone. Live and learn. The U.S. full marks for their 3-0 lead and really dodged a bullet last end. As China looked like they might be ready to get the real big end. They were on 5 at one time. But it was good shots by Jimmy Joseph and then skip Patrick McDonald, which saved the day for the USA side. And that stone will stop in the free guard zone. It looks like it's biting the rings. If it is touching the rings at all, it's not in the free guard zone. The U.S. would be able to make a hit on it.
Handle, Dave. It's in.
It's in.
Okay.
It's in.
Normal.
Oh, it's in.
Well, that stone is in, so the U.S. can play a hit on it.
Control
But
12
if
with
it's
a good
biting
handle.
any part of the rings, it's in. Dave going with the hit.
No handle.
No handle. See, there's the difficulty with the stick, sometimes just getting that right amount of handle. And Dave seems a little bit better with that in turn. Hits the wrong stone, gets his own dead on.
I forgot, Dave. Your interns are better. I should have had you do an intern.
There we see the bottom of the stone, and we saw a different color on the bottom of the stone. It's called an insert. These stones, which come from the Isle of Ailsa Craig off an island off the coast of Scotland. They are a green, gray Trevor. But on the bottom, there's an insert, which is the blue hone granite, which is the finest granite, very, very dense, and impervious to water. So it is a better granite for working with the ice surface. And it makes a real good running ring, runs well. Of course, it depends upon how sharp those stones are on their bottom ring as to how much they curl. These stones are quite sharp.
Okay.
They curl aggressively. For the moment, People's Republic of China line 2, the United States. Penny will play intern takeout. Wearing the red outfits today, throwing the red stones.
Nice, Penny.
Excellent hit. Penny playing at a 68% clip. Very good shooting. China will also play the hit. They could draw or even guard their own, but they've chosen to play the takeout in line 2. Liu Wei, their second man. 75% so far, really playing a strong game. Also with the hit and stay. Well, he's a sharpshooter. Makes a lot of shots.
啊
9秒19
，9秒19。
Same weight.
Nice shot, man.
Come on, hang. Yep.
And Penny, the social worker in Brown County in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Just smacks that one right on the nose and stays as well. And I'm sure there are many people at that Green Bay club tuning in. Good shooting by her. She said curling was, the rink was not far from my home, and so they made good use of it. With 2 seconds today, playing big numbers. Penny at 75% and Lou Wei at 79%. So they're having a real battle to see who can outwin that position at second. Both are playing a very fine game. For China, it's their third and skip who are playing lower numbers. Nice hit and stay. That isn't in the rings, but it's still a good possibility of being tapped up. So another good shot. Yes, China at their third and skip position are 33%. They're struggling there, but they've had tough shots too.
It's there. I
The
say we
US
just
has
go
been-
after this one.
The U.S. has
This one's
been
not
giving
in.
China tough
Hit
stones.
this one and a little flip. Okay. Normal.
Plug it right into the broom.
Jimmy Joseph
We just
at
don't-
58%,
Are we doing
a
out turn or in
below
turn?
his average.
I got it.
We're going after this one.
Okay.
But the jam man made a big stone last in. And he was looking at 5 counters of China. And he drew one right into the pile. Saved that end. Oh, he zips right through the port. China with an opportunity here.
Push out on that one.
It's a little wide, he said. And the way curling stones can be missed is wide, narrow, light or heavy.
89也行。
A little bit wide or outside the broom, as that shot was. Light means short of the rings. Heavy means too much weight. Heavy is a term which definitely indicates the amount of speed put on the stone. And here on sheet C, China would like just enough weight to perhaps roll the shooter and the stone they strike both into the rings. So about back ring weight. Not enough to go right through the rings.
线了 OK 啊，
力量 OK。
力量可以啊。
China trails at 3-0, so they would like to get another stone in the rings here. And nice tap back right into the 4-foot area. Just over curled a little bit at the end, didn't stay
这个
hidden.
点给小了哦，
还行，力量多少？
12秒
Nice
06。
shot.
12秒06。
Even if it crosses over, okay? Normal. Weight should carry it.
The jam man, always very positive guy on this team, always up,
Come on.
yelling at that stone. Cracks the double at the top and
That's just as
pulls
good.
through. Really nice shot. It's a good either or. Either get the shot stone or crack the double at the top. And plan B worked good. The U.S. with 38 minutes on their, pardon me, 42 on their clock. China 38. China playing a bit slower. And both teams started with 68 minutes. Wheelchair curling held its first world championship in 2002, and then was after that first introduced into the Paralympics in 2006 in Torino, Turin, Italy. Canada has won gold in both Torino 2006
9秒23。
and then Vancouver 2010 by Jim Armstrong, and that Jim Armstrong team is here trying to defend. And the Jim Armstrong team also won World Championships in this very arena last year. You never see that blue hone granite, the insert on the bottom of the stone, as Jimmy Joseph puts it up to make sure it's clean on the bottom surface. So all the teams, when they came to this event, were definitely hit hunting for Canada.
Well, I cleared the front.
The defending Olympic and defending world champions.
Wow.
I cleared the front, though.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
The U.S. right now not too worried about any other team except themselves.
I like your
With their
first call on
2-4
the
record, they
right-hand
need a
side.
win today to stay alive
Could have probably got them both.
in a playoff hunt. So far,
You got this, kid.
things have been
Nice
going well.
service.
They lead at 3-0
Yesterday.
in this game. And China presently counting 2. Patrick McDonald, 88% today, and that's by far his biggest numbers of the tournament. He likes the ice today.
As long as it gets one of them, I'm fine. It's enough to stay in.
Gets the top one, rolls over a bit. That's a good shot.
Ah,
It's a simple removal.
yeah, but now.
And Patrick McDonald had a bit of a small accident with his wheelchair when he arrived in Sochi. Of all things, one of the shocks blew on the suspension of his chair
If he hits and rolls over a
just
little bit,
before the
then
round robin began. And he said, "Thank goodness for duct tape." And we put a bunch of folded towels around it, and then we started to make calls to the U.S. if we could find another shock absorber. And it was an individual from the U.S. Olympic Committee who in Colorado found one and purchased it and loaded it on someone's luggage coming this way. And it has arrived, and now McDonald seems to have a much better game going, and perhaps that was a factor. He said it wasn't in his play thus far, but he's certainly playing with a lot of confidence today.
掉住，掉了。
China could play the draw for 2 here, or hit and stay for 2. It's a nice hit and stay. Well done. And many times we will see in regular able-bodied curling where the team will play the draw at a line 2.
Right there.
And they do have the advantage of sweeping, so they can position a stone pretty well with sweeping. Whereas in wheelchair curling, I've seen where many of the teams prefer to do the takeout. That usually is their little higher percentage shot. Patrick McDonald with his last stone of this 4th end. He leads at 3-0 over China. He's facing 2 counters.
All right, buddy.
Good shot there, the hit and stay. And he will force China to have to come up with the goods if they want to get their 2-ender. The U.S. with a single on the 1st end. And they stole the point in the 2nd and stole another in the 3rd. And in the 3rd, they were looking at 5 Chinese counters at one time and made a beautiful draw to steal the end. So Patrick McDonald at 91%. Wang Haito skipped for China only 43%, but he does have a chance for a hit and stay here for 2. And definitely Haito so far has faced the more difficult shots. The left-hander skip, only 24 years old, out of Harbin, China, which is definitely the hotbed of curling, or I should say the cold bed of curling in China. Going over curls, a missed opportunity for 2. The best counter in the rings belongs to the U.S., so they will get 1. China nothing. Oh, an unexpected miss there. China had played a good end. And this team from Harbin, China, curls out of the very, very northeast part of China, the 6 million population city of Harbin. It's called the Ice City. It's the coldest area in China. And on the regular side, both Wang Bingyu on the women's side in the Olympics, her team also plays out of Harbin, as does the men's side, although both those teams on the men's and women's side, regular curling, do train in Canada year-round. Now with the 4th end break, we see Coach Steve Brown
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And assistant coach
Aiming and guiding all
Rusty Schreiber will be there as well.
Strong. Get your pre-shot routine, focus, plug it in. Okay? You got away with sin. You made your best shot at the tournament.
Rusty Schreiber, the one standing. Fifth player, Megan Leno. Here at the Ice Cube, and you look at the U.S. and their percentages, and their percentages on the left-hand side, 75, 75, 53, and 91. Patrick McDonald had skipped 91%, his best game by far, totally outbeating his previous 46%. And you look at the team meeting for China, their coach, Lai Zhongru.
刚一出手线就偏一块儿，你知道吗？就走那正常起线，啪就下来了。
我看刚一出线路挺好的，然后
头到上面不是一出来就往里蹦。
对，一出来就往里
还行。
我感觉点还行。
Their alternate fifth player, Hai Jun.
再击打力量加一点，猛一点。
Inside the Ice Cube, look at China's numbers, and particularly at Skip in third. And Skip is the spot. And Wang Haito, 38%. They have been good on the front end with their lead in second. Third and Skip. The Skip definitely struggled, and he missed a wide open hit there for two on that fourth end of play. So far, the U.S. playing a great match, their best one so far. So they have finally arrived.
Keep good. Hi, Mom.
Megan Leno, the U.S. yes finally arrived, their best match, finally playing the way they can. And just look at the comparisons between the two teams. The U.S. 69%, so they're winning the takeout, but look at the draw battle, 75% for the U.S. They are having a great draw game, by far their best of the tournament so far. But the U.S. with 2 wins and 4 losses, this is a must-win. They lead this game 4-0, but if they were to lose this game and go to 5 losses, then with their 9 games, the best record they could have would be 4-5 if they won out. And that would not be enough for a playoff spot. So they must win out right now. Hope they can get to a record of 5-4, and hope that's good enough for a playoff spot or a tiebreaker situation. Well, we're here at the Ice Cube in Sochi, Russia. Ice C, and the ice better today. Definitely more conducive to high numbers in wheelchair curling, and definitely I would say more used than what the U.S. is more used to in their regular play.
On the edge.
Around 3.5 feet of curl rather than the 4.5 we've seen in other matches. The U.S. playing good and getting the breaks today. Things are going their way, and that missed by China on the last end for a 2 count. Certainly a break for U.S. Jimmy Joseph will be the acting skip for a moment here.
Right in there, buddy.
Holding the brush for Dave Palmer, the vice skip on this team, who plays the lead position. It appears that Patrick McDonald has taken a short washroom break and will be back momentarily.
Yep. Come on.
Palmer with a good game today, 75%. Another stone well positioned right around that center line area. The U.S. probably wanted that in the rings with their 4-0 lead.
Well, it could have changed just a little bit.
But still, it gives them a rock that they can draw around.
You too, brother.
Jimmy Joseph in behind. skip from China, the acting skip for the moment. Zhu Wangqing, the 23-year-old youngest player on this team, and this is the youngest team in the competition. And look out for them in the future. They're fairly new to this sport. They already have won 2 bronze medals in world competitions. And as they continue to get more experience and play in more world championships and in the Olympics, they definitely will get stronger over the years.
Same broom.
Patrick McDonald back from his break, and he'll just watch the play for a moment and then head down to take the helm. Palmer with the in-turn draw this time. He works for the Mashpee Public School Board, school system in Mashpee.
That'll work.
Began 2008 at the age of 40 in
Try, Dave.
It had one on it.
Cape Cod. A little bit light on that one, so a long corner guard off the side.
Go!
This is now the 5th end in an 8-end game. 8 ends of regulation play. And China, a big end for them if they can hit the scoreboard. They've had chances and they've been lying stones. One time they were lying 5 in the 3rd end, but nothing on the scoreboard so far. That stone very, very light and might not make the hog line. And the official will come out and remove that stone from play. It must be over the hog line to remain in play.
Penny, you want to just tap that up?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Is this where you had it, Jam?
He had him out farther.
About here?
A little bit farther out. No.
Penny Greeley from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
5'6".
I want to tap.
The curling club there in Green Bay is only 2 blocks from Lambeau Field, which is the home field for the Green Bay Packers of the NFL football.
It's a fast track, babe.
Penny is a social worker in Brown County.
Go by.
Her hobbies: fishing, swimming, golfing, sitting volleyball, and wheelchair basketball.
Remember that path?
Yeah, I'm just trying to
She
figure out how
zipped that
far
one with
away.
too much weight right through the hole.
啊，
后边一句没听清。
小了43。
小了3。
China with the poor draw weight so far in this end. And they definitely are looking for better play. The U.S. at 67% is out curling them. They are only 54. And for them, that high percentages are with the lead in second. And of course, in a curling match, the 3rd and skip throw the last 4 stones, and more of those stones actually end up on the scoreboard instead of the last throwing. Particularly skip stones are so important.
太小了。
Short once again, so the U.S. will.
I'd like to leave that there. Let's come in this way.
Yep, come in there.
Okay.
All right.
U.S. staying on the offense. Penny just needs to take a little bit of speed off her first throw.
It's like we were dropping them early.
5, 6, 7.
And the wheelchair curling is the only team sport in Paralympics where both genders, men and women, play on an equal playing field.
Yep.
And there must be
Get by.
at least one person of each gender on the ice at all times.
Weight was good. I could have gave you more.
And Penny just rubbing that guard, just needed a couple feet more weight. Of course, the main thing, difference between the regular curling,
4局也行。
the non-sweeping factor
4局
here.
也行。
There are no sweepers to warm the path or diminish the amount of curl or take a draw shot 5 to 10 feet further, and so Paralympic wheelchair curlers need to be more precise right from the point of throw. And generally most of the teams, not all, but most of the teams on their lineup will have 3 of one gender and 2 of the other in their 5-man team, because they do have an alternate as well. And just in case one of the genders was sick and not able to play, they do need a replacement. They must at all times have at least one representative from the gender on the ice.
没有那个劲。
We're shot. Guard it.
Got it up.
Hey, Jam. We're shot. We're shot right here.
What?
Well, the U.S. is shot stone, and they could look at a way to
Guard up front.
get another stone into the rings. Jimmy will do that with the out turn. The U.S. with much more time on their clock. They have 37 minutes. China only 31.
Back up.
Jimmy just taking a moment to get positioned correctly. He places the brakes on his chair just so there's very little movement, and Penny braces from behind. And coming into this game, China was first in percentages amongst all of the teams at 55%. The U.S. was 9th at 47%, but that's not been the story today. The U.S. is 65% as a team and China only 53, so total reversal. Not wanting to tap this in for shot, and it looks like it did. I do believe China's now shot stone, but
I think that kind of screwed everything up.
not all bad, Jimmy. You still have a tap up on your next one. China's definitely will be worried about that. Might have to guard it.
站位呀！
对啊。
Because the U.S. does have that red stone which they can just bang away at it and drive out the yellow.
睁开眼睛。
我们过去看看呢。
再往里磕。
Well, each team started with 68 minutes on their time clocks to play their stones. And China eating away at their clock. 31 minutes left.
这么来吧，磕这个完了往里传，再磕这下子，他往这边去。
They're worried about
可以。
力量不用太大。
the red on yellow.
也
I'm
行。
thinking maybe they would just tap it. Kind of ruin that angle for the U.S.
奔青稞来，奔青稞来。好。
And I do like what I'm seeing with the ice today. The 2 ice technicians, Scott Henderson of Edinburgh, Scotland, and Joachim Fritz of Baden-Baden, Germany. Those 2 gentlemen also made the ice last January 2013 for the World Wheelchair Championships here in Sochi. And they're responsible for taking care of everything with the ice and stones. And as Joachim tells it, Scott is the sheriff, and I'm his deputy, and we try to give the best ice we can. And we like it to be 4x4, 4 feet of curl in each direction. And 24 seconds from the first hog to stop, and it's been a little slower than that. I think they are getting the conditions better now. And look at the stick, and of course, that's one of the big things about the wheelchair curling this year. So many different teams have a little bit different version of the stick. A little bit different grasping handle on it, a little bit different in length. Technology is certainly a big part of the throw. Will China sneak through that hole, just barely rubbing? Not a bad shot for them. It's certainly a stone that they can promote. And all of these athletes exemplify the Paralympic motto of spirit in motion. And Donald out front to have a look. Jimmy Joseph spins down to have a look.
Shot by 1. I need you to crotch that with a 12, 12 and a half. If we crotch this one and this one, If we crotch them, that one's gone. That one takes the yellow one and shoots it all the way back.
Then it's going to hit our red out.
No, it's not.
Are they shot?
Yes, they're shot. I'm telling
Oh.
you, you crotch it, the red one takes the yellow one all the way out.
Okay, what's their objective here? Right here, if they have one? Are they going to get two?
Possibly, but listen.
No.
If you crotch it right here,
Right.
this one is pushing that one all the way back.
It's going to like jam on that one and then
It's
push
not
it
going to
in.
jam on it. They're side by side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, this one is farther up in front.
All right.
The red one will move for sure,
All right.
but if you hit, I need a 13.
Go ahead.
Okay.
The U.S. with 35 minutes on their clock. They
They
definitely have the advantage on the having more time to talk about strategy. Patrick trying to convince Penny and Jimmy that this was the shot. The key here would be keep his weight very big, lots of speed. Any lack of weight, he might accidentally raise that Yellowstone
Even
in
if
for
you
China.
hit this one first, it's fine, but I need a 13.
Just have to keep his weight up there. The 13 men with their system of speed.
Just plug it into the broom, Jam. Hold that follow through.
The Jam Man in his third Paralympics, and he has played in 7 previous World Championships. He trains 5 days a week. His motto, never give up.
Curl.
He's a big cheerleader for this team.
Curl.
Good hit there. Gets rid of that one dangerous stone. Not bad at all. And definitely the U.S. can use that
Now what are
stone
they
and
gonna
tap up.
You know.
The U.S. controls the front of the rings.
刮着那个呀？容易刮，但你要掉下来之后呢，要先封一个。
Taito and Kwang are talking it over.
那不一定哪个最磕呀。上半点非常好，我再给你稍缩一点。是。
And China in their first Paralympics has played very well. Their record 3-3, and they have been quite stellar in most of their matches. Now coming in, they were leading all teams in percentages. And they're in the WCF World Curling Federation rankings, they're number 7 with 429 points. They lost their opener to Russia 5-4, and then they beat Norway 7-3. They lost to Slovakia 8-3. They beat Sweden 8-4. Korea 11-2, and then they lost to Canada 8-5. So they have been on and off. In their 6 games, they've scored 38 and they've only given up 30, so they're a +8. So they have played very well. Actually, their stats are even better than their 3-3 record. Perhaps they let a game slip away along the way. I know they were leading Canada by 4-0. They ended up losing that match. Might be doing a favor here for U.S. The tap. Tap it right into the rings. And no one on Team China would be happy with that stone. Not quite sure what they were playing. I think it was just the guard, and it was just a bit too heavy.
Confusing, right?
Yeah,
1, 2,
6,
3,
you're
4,
right.
5, 6. Okay. All right.
Yes, Patrick, it is your turn.
Just outside middle.
The Jam Man cleans off the stone.
Number 12.
42-pound stone set into place. Ready for Patrick as he reaches the far end. And the U.S. in their 6 games has scored 31 but given up 39. -8. And hence their 2-4 record.
You're just plugging a hole, right?
Yep.
And Patrick says thank you to Team China for the tap in.
Number 1, 2. I might go after that.
Let him.
Let him
And in
grab
this
it.
particular game, it's the opposite of what we've seen before. This game, the U.S. is getting the breaks.
That's 2, 3 is fine.
They glide in nice.
China
Yep.
just raised them in for a nice break.
Nope.
Good.
You have to earn the breaks too, and today the U.S. is doing
Yeah, right
that.
there.
Patrick curling 91%. Oh, those are great numbers.
Okay,
Perhaps
nice shot.
finding that shock absorber that he was missing on his chair has
Come on, girl. Come on, girl.
and he gets shipped in from Colorado. He's helped his draw weight in early on during the event. He said that he had left his draw weight in Madison, Wisconsin. He seems to have it much better today. Not a bad guard.
把再往这挤一下子呢，然后把它露着。点这儿行吗？正常。
And this young team from China, the youngest in the Paralympic curling, wheelchair curling, they all pretty much started together and have played together. All from Harbin, China. They all play for the Haili Zhongzheng curling club. And that's the province that they all live in northeastern China, out of Harbin. So they all began curling around 2007 and then were asked to play on this team. And 4 world championships, they have 2 bronze medals, so they worked very hard at their game. This is one of the matches today, nothing going their way. Every opportunity they have, they've had trouble finishing things off. High toe below his average today, only 38% so far. Playing a hit on that top stone will open it up. Not much else he could have done. At least he leaves himself a shot for the last stone. And his team has counted many times, had counters in the rings, but unable to put them on the scoreboard.
So edge of 8 or edge, maybe just out.
Yeah, a little out.
Where'd you have me last time? You had me right there for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 5 inches out. There you go.
Well, for guarding this stone, the one thing that Dave and Patrick didn't talk about was the other turn. It might be much easier to guard coming from the center line side. And see if
we have to draw in because
he took that out to wick and roll.
Yep.
No, he's playing the draw in, so okay, the right turn then.
To try to get 2.
I'd like to be lying too.
Well, look where mine stopped.
Yeah.
With it in the middle of the middle of the 12. So an extra foot and about 10 more feet of weight.
You got it. What are they sitting?
We're 1.
All right.
Okay, 13 seconds.
U.S. is 1. They would like to have a second counter in the rings.
Nice line.
Patrick McDonald, the out-turn throw with that counterclockwise rotation. Plenty of spin, a nice handle. Looks like it's got good speed.
Come on, get there.
That one stopped quickly. The ice perhaps just flattening out a bit in the center now. Patrick said he threw more weight, but the ice just changing a little bit. And as the pebble begins to flatten out, the ice can get a little stickier in the center area. And what I mean by the pebble is the water droplets, which are ice is sprayed before the game, and curling stones love a little bit of a pebble to ride on top of, so there's a touch of airflow under the stone. When the area gets too flat, and then certainly with the running a lot of stones, the pebble can flatten out and flattens out more in the middle where the most stones are played. Gets too flat, and then the stone stops quicker. And China, last stone bin 5 with a chance for 2 after that miss by the U.S. And they can get back in this game with a good hit and stay. Right on the beak, and it will be, yes. Definitely 1 counter, and teams will go and have a look and see. They're saying 2. U.S. is saying 2. They've already looked at it before.
2 yellow.
So no need to measure.
Okay, guys, they deserve that. I threw that one heavier. I swear I did.
Yeah, it didn't move.
I know, but I did.
So China, count of 2 is right back in the game. Finally getting a miss from the U.S. skip. And capitalizing on it. After 5 ends of play, China on the board, trailing at 4-2 against the U.S.
Come in. As soon as it's time to start peeling and just let it go down to the hammer rod. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
U.S. with a good meeting there, heading into N6. This Sochi venue hosted World Wheelchair Championship last January, and then the World Junior Championships last March, both as test events. leading up to these Winter Olympics a couple weeks ago, and now these Paralympics.
再说一点。
China with that 2 tightens up the score. The U.S. had 4 singles before that. So now 4-2. China, having counted, will play the opening stone of this 6th end. Paralympic curling is quite new to the Paralympics, and of course, to qualify, a sport needs enough countries. And curling, a sport taken across the world by Scotland in the 1900s. Now the World Curling Federation has introduced the sport into many new countries. For about 45 sports that curl now. 24 have wheelchair curling. And the first World Championship in wheelchair was held 2002 in Sochi, Switzerland, with the Swiss winning gold over Canada. Torino, Turin in Italy, was the first Paralympic appearance for wheelchair curling. Canada won gold there, and then Canada won gold again in 2010 in Vancouver. So in both times that it has been in the Paralympics, Canada's come away with the gold medal. And the Jim Armstrong team is here to defend. A team from Canada, Jim Armstrong out of Vancouver. That stone for China sliding into the rings. Advantage USA. It's not in the free guard zone, so they can play ahead on it.
Bad, baby. Good job. Good job. Row, 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 row.
It'll be tough for China to build an end if they don't have any guards to draw behind.
Nice shot.
Thank you.
Boy.
And Jimmy Joseph, ever the cheerleader on this team. And China with the vice skip. Design fine. Holding the brush for the moment. Still have a chance to get a stone into the free guard zone. This one trying to crawl over the hog line. Just makes it. Just makes it over the hog line, so it will remain in play. And with the free guard zone, the FGZ it's called, out in front of the rings. With the 4-rock rule, the U.S. cannot totally remove that stone until after the 4th stone of the end has been played. So
5-6.
basically after the leads have finished shooting. Look at the lead numbers. Dave Palmer, 64%, having the better of it by a little bit. He played vice skip and threw it to 3rd position in opening matches. Now the U.S. has found their lineup and it's working. Dave at lead, Penny at 2nd, Jimmy Joseph at 3rd, and skip Patrick McDonald pulling up his socks and having a great game.
What do you think? Start peeling? Just start peeling all the guards now?
Patrick McDonald always thinking strategy. If you're new to this sport, you're sure to fall in love with the strategy of it. Lots of shots that you can play. Lots of ice reading that goes on with the skips too. Placing the brush and for the amount of expected curl for the amount of weight wanted. And I like the way this gentleman lines up to throw. He gets really low and behind. Kind of like a Kevin Cooey in the regular able-bodied curling from Canada, gets right down there. Or like a Ryan Fry. Right in behind, down low. You can throw it hard from that position. Hard with a little bit of roll, that's a good shot. The U.S. with some choices here. They could go chase that stone that you just threw.
Yep.
Or they could peel the center.
Do the other turn.
Oh, you can go
That's
inside
fine.
out.
Nose are here. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to play it tight. You like that?
Penny in her first Paralympics. She's played in 3 previous World Championships.
Come on back. Yep.
She's glad she took up wheelchair curling.
Yep.
Really enjoys the sport. Plays very well at it. At the 2nd position, she is no pushover. She's curling 60% and playing a very strong game. I think she's better suited for second than lead, really. She's a good hitter. China without last stone this end, trailing at 4-2. Needs to make something happen if they hope to steal this end. Nice hit. Push that stone back. It might move it away from the guard a bit. Being totally buried. Pretty good shot. Penny will have a chance to either come right in on top of it or guard it.
This one or peel that one.
What?
Just take that one.
And looking at the seconds, boy, both players playing good games.
Normal.
Liu Wei, 67%. I like the way he throws. There's a lot of options here. The U.S. could hit, but they could also guard their own shot stone. It's already partially guarded.
Come on. Yep.
I'd like to see them stay on the offense.
Come on, yep.
Get the roll.
Yeah, a hit and roll by Penny. Well, that's a good shot. That works nicely. Right to the rolling, right to the edge of the forefoot. That's a beauty. What a great shot. And Penny is playing a stellar game today. I think she really enjoyed that second position too. Playing very well there. And of course, she's got that cheerleader, Joey, working for her all the time. And China trying to stay with the U.S. on this end. It's just like pulling the quiver there at the bow and arrow. The tool of the trade. China with the handle, they just bounce a little bit and do a quick push. Always difficult to overcome the inertia of the stone when it's just sitting there and not moving. We saw Russia where they had a little bit of a back and forth motion to overcome that inertia. Perfect hit there, not quite the inside roll, but there wasn't much room. This end is really coming down to proficiency. Whoever might make the first mistake.
Just plug it in.
The United States can simply exchange shots.
You like that, Penny?
They could get two
Penny,
here.
you like that?
The jam man with the out turn as well. He does prefer the in turn. He's had good numbers on both. Not his best game, 43% today, but over the event he has been the most consistent player. Good hit there, the most consistent player for Team US. He can throw with accuracy, throw weight.
Hey.
He's played in 7 world championships, so he knows what it's all about. And you see the blue hone granite on the bottom. Still amazing how it's inserted into the stone, but stays there and manages to stay there through all the pounding that the curling stones take. When the striking band of one stone hits another. And you might ask, what would happen if a curling stone ever broke? Well, I have only seen one in my curling career where the curling stone actually split in two and broke, and there was 4 pieces of granite lying around. Well, it's wherever the biggest stone is. If the stone splits in two, where the biggest portion sits, that's where the stone is. So you get a new stone and replace the broken one.
Draw one in.
It's in the rule book in curling, but
Draw one.
very few people have ever got to see it.
Either that or peel that. I wouldn't mind that.
Draw one in. From this side, Pat.
Right here.
At third,
Yeah.
Jimmy Joseph at 48%. Probably his lowest match so far, but he has made a couple big shots too. Sometimes percentages don't tell the whole story. Here's a big shot just to keep the pressure on the People's Republic of China. With a good draw into the rings here, Jimmy would keep the deuce alive. He's cheering on that stone.
Nice.
That's a pretty good spot right there. Nicely done in behind the guard.
No, good thing is that
Jimmy with 2 good shots here in the 6th end. They keep the pressure on China. That's a lot of ice, I would say, on this outturn, as China must throw quite a bit of weight to make this double. Of course, they do want to hit it on the broom side, on what's called the pro side. You see the C there, the number 7 stone of the Reds. Just throwing. Going for the double. Good skip from China. But quite a bit of ice for big weight. It's close though. Well, he knew what he was doing. He makes the double. What a great shot. Oh, that is a beautiful shot. And correct me because I was wrong. That was the perfect ice. As Wong makes perfect double. Ruins the possibility for the U.S. to get 2, although
it was a great
Patrick
shot.
McDonald
But I knew if he got the double, he'd roll out. So
does have a draw. He can go in behind the guard first. Still hopefully get his 2.
yeah, but with how high the guard is, I'd rather do what we did.
Patrick McDonald, I call him the tattoo man. He has tattoos on each of his ears. And he himself says, I'm tattoos right from ears to ankles. He's always adding to them.
13 seconds.
He's also a great charity man. He has raised $100,000 for breast cancer through his celebrity golf events and black tie dinners. He loves golf and cooking as well. If the weight's good, this could bury right in behind. Looking very good. Staying high in the rings. Not a stone that China can draw to and be shot stone. That's pretty much perfect. And that is buried in behind. Wow, a very tough stone. As mentioned, China has to move that all the way out of the rings to remove it. And if they just tap it a little bit, it would remain shot stone. If they just draw to it, it doesn't get them much. So they will go with takeout weight. Long going after that stone and just breezes by it. Couldn't see much of it. That was a very tough shot. Oh, Patrick McDonald, they're just really playing great today. Just out-curling the skip from China. There we see the percentages. McDonald, 84%. That's astounding.
Not much more.
That's an incredible game. I haven't seen any skip in this competition yet for 84%. Just wants to duplicate that first stone of his.
+1.
Last stone of N6 has a shot for 2.
Nice. Nice.
Joseph says nice right out of the hand of McDonald. Could tap his own stone and still get 2. Oh, that is perfect. Beautiful shot. 2 reds for the U.S. Big count for them. And Joseph loving it. And the crowd cheering for that too. It was a good end. U.S. had the best of that end all the way and kind of made a double to look like they got out of it. And a real good bury in behind by McDonald. Earned the U.S. 2, and they lead it now by a score of 6-2 after 6 full ends of play. Team China will talk it over.
Keep them to 1. Okay? Just keep them to 1.
This is a big match, as we've talked about earlier on. For the U.S., they have 4 losses. The 5th loss would pretty much eliminate them. So they have to, what is called, run the table. Have to win the rest of their matches, stay at 4 losses, and hope that will be enough to make the playoffs perhaps gain them a tiebreaker spot, at least into the playoffs. And that's what curling is all about. You have to win everything.
On that side of the center line.
Can't afford any more losses. That's when a team really has to crank it up
You want this?
and play well.
You want the other turn?
Dave's in turn.
And on the World Curling Tour in Europe and in Canada, where the biggest cash events are held on the regular able-bodied side, we see many tournaments where it is a team which might have an early loss in a tournament, but then turns it up and runs the table and goes away with the big money in the tournament. And quite often they really get to play on the ice a lot, get used to the ice, get better during the tournament. We see a lot of the money in the big curling tournaments given away to teams who had an early loss in an event
It was going to go
or
through
two.
though.
Yeah.
So it's never over till it's over. And China has to say that here. That yogiism holds true, especially in curling. A comeback is always possible. China with 2 minutes left in regulation play. Well, they have to crank it up now. They trail it 6-2. They need 4 points to tie. 8 shots available for their side in the 7th inning. 8 in the 8th inning, so they have 16 stones. They have to count 4 of them to tie this game. And first things first, this is the 7th end. China would dearly love a count of 2 or 3.
You think you want to go the same way? Okay.
Dave Palmer,
Nice handle.
vice skipper, playing lead.
Blast those open.
62% today. And he's found the range. Really struggled his first couple games.
Let's go here.
It seems now he's liking the ice and finding the speed.
Good line.
There you go. You know what? That's
Whole
the
U.S.
fence.
side,
That-
this is
that
one of their
could
better
go through
games,
now.
66% as a team.
That's the hotter lane.
Dave a little fast on that stone, but not a dumb miss. At this stage of the game, the U.S. does not want to be throwing guards out in front, giving China stones to draw around.
中区，
中线，
中线往这么一点也行。
中线往这边儿好了。
And Zhu, the youngest player, 23 years old, has played in 4 World Championships, twice a bronze medal winner. Hobby swimming, and she was selected to this team by a committee. She began curling in 2007. As mentioned, this entire team from China plays out of Harbin, the capital of the Heilongjiang province. It's the northernmost area of China, and also the coldest. Harbin is a city of 6 million people. It's the most populous city in northeast China, and is also the coldest winters of any of the major cities in China. It's called the Ice City, and here they are, China curling in the Ice Cube in Sochi. Of course, Sochi's warm, though, warm climate here in Russia. Very temperate climate. In Sochi, here they are. It's the most compact games with all of the venues for hockey and all of those very close along the Black Sea, only a few hundred yards between all of the venues, which were used in the Olympics and some of them now in the Paralympics. And in Sochi, there's even palm trees. It's a very temperate climate, and we're only half an hour from the skiing in the mountains. It was raining the past couple of days in Sochi. Generally beautiful weather. And China looking for an end here. They trail it by 4, and that one throws the anchor out and comes to a halt. Right in the back 12-foot circle at the 6 o'clock position.
Get over a little bit, okay?
Well, the U.S. has to be careful here. Although they lead it by 4, they can't afford any sloppy play. Penny, 62% overall. On her takeouts, 75% today. That's why I say she's well suited to the second position. While the leads play a lot of draws, because they open up the ends. The seconds play more takeouts than they do draws, or generally about 60% takeouts. And Penny is a very high percentage on her hits. China sticking with it. Not sure who has shot stone. We'll have a look at the overhit in a moment. But regardless, China needs more stones in the rings. They need at least 2 or 3 here to make this a match going into the 8th end. Liu Wei, 67% so far. He's had a very good game. He might tap his own right out though. Yeah, a little bit too much speed. Just taps it through. Couple feet heavy. And that will be a deflator for China. They had a chance there to get perhaps 2 or 3 in this end. They just haven't been able to come up with the big shot so far today. China's only scored once in this match. That was on the 5th end when they got 2. They've had a few opportunities. Jimmy Joseph hoping his outturn works out for him.
Nice jam.
Good player. I like his attitude. Even if he misses, he carries it around for a little while, but then in a second or 2 later, he totally forgets about it and he's into the next shot big time. He's a fantastic cheerleader for his team. All around great sportsman. Third player for China, Zhang, 44%. And he struggled on the draws today, only 29%. So for China, this has been a bit of an off game. Haven't been up to their regular good numbers. They came in leading all teams on a team percentage basis, and they had 55%. But they were ranked number 1 after the percentage sheet came out this morning. Nice weight. Not buried behind the guard, though.
Just nice plug in.
Great plug in.
The same path
Same weight.
that the jam man just played on his last stone. He does not want to jam it here. Does not want to hit that yellow one back on his own red. So we have to call him the unjam man on this shot. Past the back one.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Yep.
And he does it. Perfectly done. Doesn't really care about the shooter there. Although it hangs on. The main point was eliminate the yellow stone. Nice shot. China just has to keep plugging away here and see if they can get one buried. And as sharp as the U.S. is throwing, they will definitely have to get a stone hidden here to get a miss from Patrick McDonald, who's having his, by far, the best game of these Paralympics. The entire Chinese team looking on intently. They are the youngest team in the competition. Only one of their players over 30 years old. Zhang, he's 34. Playing to that back stone, just chips and rolls away. Misses that. For China, with their 3-3 record coming in, they lost their last 2 games coming into this match, and all of a sudden the wheels are coming off for the young team. Either they're feeling the pressure a bit, perhaps the inexperience, and the inexperience, probably the biggest factor in that experience is how to react to things when they're not going quite as well. How do you support each other team as a team member?
Got 2 more stones, dude.
Rather than being quiet or down,
They've only got 2 more stones.
a player really needs to learn to be supportive of the teammates. Perhaps that's certainly something that China might improve upon in the future as they gain more experience.
Get it right in there, brother. Nice job. Good job. Come on, baby. Come on.
Patrick McDonald, 85%. He's still 100% on his takeouts in this game. 83% on his draws. And he has had a super game. If he could take any game and duplicate it and keep it forever, it would be this one. Comes into the top 12-foot, 5-4. Makes it difficult for China to find an avenue into the rings.
No, 'cause now they don't know what to do.
And there's a saying in curling which definitely covers situations, and it says it's always easy to be a front runner. I know it's always easy to be hit on the scoreboard. It's always easy to be winning, but it's the real measure of a team is what happens when you get deep into a competition and the pressure's on and perhaps things aren't going too well. How do you still play well and finish it off and play well the rest of the event? And for China, perhaps this is just a bit of a learning experience. It's difficult to play your best all the time. You're not playing quite as good. That's the time it's really important to be very supportive of one another. And then there are just some days where things don't go well, and we've seen that with many of the teams here. Everybody has their off day. That stone not getting over the hog line, so the official will boot it out of play. Kicking it to the sidelines.
You got
Here, take that.
19 minutes.
Okay, take that.
You got 19 minutes. My arm hurts.
The U.S. still with 19 minutes on their clock. China down to 12, but both have plenty of time to play the 8th end. The time really not a factor here.
Okay. What do you think? Just on that
Jimmy
side?
cleans off that stone as we have a good look at the striking band on this side, which is a little bit rougher granite.
What do you think? Edge of 12?
Perfect for striking the other stone.
Yeah, anything over the hog is good.
Well, I'd say
But I want to come in, though. I'm going to throw it to come in.
yeah, but 12, yeah, from
Okay, put it on the edge of the 12 and let's see what it looks like.
hog to house is good.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
U.S. just looking for a
Draw it
guard
on the
here.
other side.
This side? What he just
No.
did?
Yeah, just same side he
Hey,
just
let
did.
me tell you what.
Okay, we're going to try to draw it to the top of the house on the other
Just
side
to
now.
give you a heads up. This side's faster than that side.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to give it. If I'm short, then it's guarded. Then he's got to do something to save it.
Well, you're not going to be short.
Yeah, that looks good.
You're not going to be short. You're going to be right there, brother. I like it on top like you just did.
Yep.
Like you said, even if you're over
And
there.
I think
Oh,
this
a
side's a
little
little bit
different on
slower,
this
so I'm gonna
side.
try to play it 12 seconds.
you got
A
it.
little slower.
Even if you're up over the hog. 3, 2,
Okay, 12 seconds.
fine.
And looking for 12 seconds. Patrick McDonald. That's the running time from the first hog to the last hog. This side is definitely slower.
He's over.
That stone 16 seconds. So it took a lot of time to get through that zone, and the weight really came off. That's a heavy side. Very sticky. We saw the skipper trying to hog the stone there. It certainly is not an easy side to draw on. And the jam man really pumped up for this game. China selecting a hit is not easy to draw into the rings now. The rings have really shrunk down with the guards and the blockage out in front. And that side that China played their first draw on for the skip, and also where Patrick just threw, it's not a good side to draw on. It's very heavy over there, very slow, untested waters. It would be the hit and roll instead, and nothing easy here. You must roll all the way into the 8th foot to get shot stone. Team China just didn't make very many good shots this end. They had a few opportunities. Now they are looking for counters belonging to the U.S. The last stone of N7. Handle the long high toe. Needs the hit in the roll. And just slides by. A wide open miss. It will be a steal of 4 for the U.S.
后面有片力量大磕呀，后面的呗。
这太难做了。
完了呗。啊？
不，我这么往里
Yes,
旋
with
一
that
拉
4 moves into basically an insurmountable lead. 10 to 2.
You guys aren't going to miss your takeouts like Russia did, right?
All the way through.
And we'll see whether or not China decides to even play this final end. Trailing it by 8, and they only have 8 stones.
Thank you. Good game, guys.
Yeah, it's handshakes. Game's over. The U.S. wins it. China not with their best effort. They didn't play up to their 55% average that they came into leading all teams. The U.S. came up with their best game of the tournament so far. It was a must-win for the U.S. to stay alive and chase for a playoff spot. The U.S. finally finding their wheels in this event and playing well. This is by far their best match. For China, they will need to regroup. They move to a record of 3 wins and 4 losses after there's 10-2 loss to the United States. And for China, with that 3-4 record, they need to win their last 2 matches.
USA, baby.
And the U.S. with a record of 3-4 also need to win their last 2 to have any playoff hopes. It's 10-2 for the U.S. And we look at percentages. The draw percentage is U.S. 63 to 38 for China. Hitting 74 to 64, total 66 to 51. The U.S. definitely had the better of it. And China didn't have much luck in this match either, although they were lying stones. One shot here or there from the U.S. took it away from them.
How do you feel about
For the U.S., they stay alive. Move to 3-4.
That was the best game.
2 games left in the round robin. They must win both to have any aspirations of the playoffs. Great game of McDonald, 84%. His best of the tournament so far. And Penny Greeley at 3rd, 64%. As the fans here in Sochi, the colorful jackets of Sochi, beautiful. There's all sorts of colors and beautiful designs. And there we see the U.S. Go Team USA, and they really went today, 10-2 over China. The People's Republic of China, not their best match.
Got the heart, drive, get it. Taking them down one by one, we're going down.
Now the standings. Canada and Russia still tied at 5-1 in first place. Great Britain alone in 3rd at 4-2. Slovakia at 4-3. Now we look at the teams with 4 losses. China, Norway, United States, Korea, and Sweden. All of them must win to keep their playoff hopes alive. Finland at 1-5. Well, a record of 4-5 doesn't often make it, but you never know. Sometimes it can get a tiebreaker. So Finland's still alive, but barely. Inside of the ice cube here in Sochi. The fans going wild. And this arena holds 3,000 spectators in the warm area. Sochi, the northernmost subtropical area in the world. Beautiful place for curling, and the Russian people have really taken to the sport of curling during the Olympics and now the Paralympics. Many of them not understanding all the rules. from Sochi, Russia, 2014, the Paralympics in wheelchair curling. We featured today the U.S. against China, and U.S. was a must-win. They came in with a record of 2-4. They led it with 4-0 with singles in the first 4 innings. China came back with 2 in the 5th, but the U.S. ran it out at the end, winning it 10-2 and keeping their playoff hopes alive, moving to a record of 3-4. China dropped to 3-4. It was a great match, and both teams still have a chance of the playoffs if they can win their last 2 matches of the round robin. Well, thanks for viewing in, and we'll see you next time.